wanted to make a quick video to show you how to do a dihybrid Punnett square cross, which is a 4x4 cross. It's called a dihybrid because you're looking at two different traits being expressed at the same time. In this example, they're exactly the same genotype. They're both hybrid round, hybrid yellow peas. And what you're going to do is you're going to take one parent, put it on the top of the Punnett square, take the second parent, put it on the left side of the Punnett square. Now, in this example, there's two different traits that are being expressed: the shape of the pea and the color of it. In this case, it's hybrid round, hybrid yellow for both. Now, for each parent, there are four different combinations. I'm going to start on the top here. Now, first thing that you're going to do is look at the first allele for the first trait and the first allele for the second trait. So you've got big R, big Y. Then you're going to stay with the first allele for the first trait and then go to the second allele for the second trait. So all of my big R's are done. Now I'll use a different color so you can see here. So now I'm going to be working with the second allele for the first trait, and I went to the first allele for the second trait, and now I do the second for both. One thing I'll tell you to do here is really exaggerate the difference between your uppercase and your lowercase letters so you don't get confused. But parent number 1 is done. Now we're going to go ahead and do parent number 2. Same thing, first letter for the first trait, first letter for the second trait. First letter for the first trait, second letter for the second trait. This is going to look exactly like it did for the first parent. So they're both done. Now all I'm going to do is combine them. And the only rule that you really have to follow here is, because it's written with the R's first, you're going to keep it that way when you fill in your boxes. And if you have a capital letter, you're going to write it first. So I'm going to go ahead and do the first row with you. So I just combine these: big R, big Y, big Y. You got to write small. Big R, big Y, little y. Big R, little r, big Y, big Y. And then you have big R, little r, big R, little y. Okay, I'll go ahead and do the rest for you, but I won't narrate it. Okay, so that was fun. So let's say that all of the big R's are round, little r's are wrinkled, and all of the big Y's are yellow, and all the little y's are green. Okay, now you're going to be able to count up all of the different genotypes and all of the different phenotypes. So for instance, I'm just looking at this real quick here. This would be one of your genotypes. You can have big R, big Y, big Y. That would be a genotype. And what I would probably tell you to do to keep track of this is, when you're counting up that specific genotype, I would make a little mark down here in the bottom on your Punnett Square Master extra credit sheet. and then I would see if you find any big R, big R, big Y, which looking at here, I don't see any. So I'm not going to do this for every single one, but you would have big R, big R, big Y, and you would say there's one of those. Then you would say big R, big R, big Y, little y, and then you would just make a little mark here. I'll use blue, and then see if you find any other ones. Like here's one that has the same genotype, and I think that's it. So there would be 2 of those, and then you would use a different color to do this one. Big R, little r, big Y, and see if we see any of those. I see one right here. Okay, and you're just counting them up, and you would write that over here. Okay, and that just is a way for you to stay organized and keep track of the different genotypes that you have, because this is just a 4x4 Punnett square cross. There's 16 possible combinations. You're going to be doing an 8x8, so there's going to be considerably more.